Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. I got an email from John Adams, subject line, stars falling from heaven. Hi Jared, not sure how many people living in Turks and Caicos or Caicos, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, would have saw this SpaceX ship come through the atmosphere today after exploding, perceivably tens of thousands. Whether or not this single event is fulfillment of the prophecy of stars falling, what is true is that we have this happening far more than ever before due to the iterative process of spaceflight testing and more players doing so. I'm going to stop right there. We're going to cover this first part of the email and then afterwards tackle the last part. I don't know if you saw it, but this is on X. This is Elon Musk's X account. They were doing a Starship flight test. And as you can see, it didn't turn out so well. No one was killed in this, but as it crashed back down to the earth, like all the debris, it caused this pretty spectacular sight in the sky. And, on this channel all the time, there's all sorts of speculation as to what does it mean, the stars casting themselves to the ground, becoming angry. Could it be something like this? And yeah, sure. I actually want to show you what I've collected so far on my spreadsheets in regards to that prophecy. But we have this. I wish I could have seen this myself because look at the colors in those smoke trails. Pretty spectacular. It actually reminds me a little bit going back to last year when you had this direct attack on Israel from Iran with ballistic missiles. And I think about ancient prophets seeing the last days and not knowing how to describe this other than angry stars casting themselves to the ground if you didn't know what you were looking at. So that was pretty spectacular. But this happened over the Caribbean, over here in this area, north of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Let's see, we got this from SpaceX. Starship experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly during its ascent burn. Teams will continue to review data from today's flight test to better understand root cause. So at the time that I'm making this, they don't know. And then Flight Radar 24, after SpaceX Starship rapid, unscheduled disassembly, our most tracked flights are all aircraft holding or diverting to avoid any potential debris. So that's kind of interesting. Flights having to take this into account, this rocket that just exploded. Now, what's interesting, and the reason really why I wanted to do this video, the thing that kind of pushed me over the edge was that this is their 7th flight test for this rocket. So flight test number 7, it explodes. Well, I had to go back and check, if this is number 7, what happened with the other flight tests. And there were failures of different types. There were also explosions, like flight number 2, the booster exploded, but the upper stage, was fine. And then we have flight test number 5, where it exploded after coming back, after contacting with the water, but it didn't explode in the sky. And so flight test number 7 is kind of different because it's not the booster, it's the actual spacecraft itself that exploded. And it's making the rounds on social media. And that's the point. If there is a sign, it's meant for an audience, for people that see it and then have a sense of awe or wonder or something like that. And then the Lord can send a message through that. Not that this, I'm not so sure that this would be direct fulfillment of any given prophecy, but it gets people thinking about these type of things, especially if it's something like this. It's number 7. We've been talking about 7 a lot. President Nelson just hit his 7-year anniversary just 2 days ago at the time that I'm recording this. So, yeah, so let's move on. Let's talk about the prophecy of stars casting themselves to the ground, becoming angry. I did put this on my signs, space, general spreadsheet. These are just miscellaneous space events that I think are significant that I don't want to forget. So this is the newest one on here, but I have all sorts of other spreadsheets like for planets and solar flares and comets and moon and sun and all that stuff. This is just kind of like a general catch-all spreadsheet. Okay, so first let's consider this. This is on my quotes, common misconceptions spreadsheet. The topic is signs. The misconception, it's only a sign if it's supernatural or unexplainable. This is President Joseph Fielding Smith, at the time first counselor in the first presidency. The words of the prophets are rapidly being fulfilled, but it is done on such natural principles that most of us fail to see it. Later on, he says, let's see. One wonders if we are not now seeing some of the signs in the heaven. And later he says, do we not see airships of various kinds traveling through the heavens daily? Have we not had signs in the earth and through the earth with the radio, railroad trains, automobiles, submarines and satellites, and in many other ways? So to this prophet, Joseph Fielding Smith, he saw these things as signs. And certainly this, SpaceX and its Starship, spacecraft and what happened, I think he would probably see that as a sign of the times. But this incident, probably even more so, because of all flights for it to just explode in this spectacular way, it's flight number 7. All right, let's continue. So I kind of fleshed this out a little bit more on my quotes A through Z spreadsheet. I now have a section for, it's all kind of the same thing, but stars becoming angry, falling, casting themselves to the ground. That's row 489. On 488, I have stars that are darkened, not shining, because there's kind of like the two different things sometimes in the same scripture. So I have a section for stars and all that stuff happening. I have one for the moon being darkened and also turning into blood. And then I have a separate one for the sun being darkened. So I'll show you just some of the highlights. Okay, we're going to start here with stars, angry, falling, casting themselves down. Revelation chapter 6, 12 through 14. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Okay, so that's one place that we see this idea. There's a lot of scriptures that talk about these things, but here's just a few of the key ones. Doctrine and Covenants 88, 87. Not many days hence, and the earth shall tremble and reel to and fro as a drunken man, and the sun shall hide his face, and shall refuse to give light, and the moon shall be bathed in blood, and the stars shall become exceedingly angry, and shall cast themselves down as a fig that falleth from off a fig tree. Okay, and then more scriptures, and then I want to read these two from Elder Bruce R. McConkie. These are both from Millennial Messiah. This one is pages 380 to 381. There may be more than one occasion when the light of the sun and the moon shall be withheld from men. So maybe more than just one. Okay. So yeah, I think that this could maybe fit into that category. This thing with Starship Flight 7. And when it will seem as though the very stars in the firmament are being hurled from their places. What is here recited could mean that the light of the sun is blotted out by smoke and weather conditions. That's happening right now in California. And back in 2023, you remember the Canadian wildfire smoke that covered much of the United States and across the Atlantic over to Lisbon, Portugal, and Madrid, Spain? Yeah, that was a big sun darkening event back in 2023. But we're having one right now in Los Angeles, which would also make the moon appear as blood. The falling of the stars onto the earth could be meteoric showers. That's a typo there. Meteoric showers, as distinguished from the stars, on another occasion appearing to fall because the earth itself reels to and fro. He's going to talk more about that with this other quote. Perhaps the passage has reference to both types of falling stars. Excuse me. The latter-day revelation that seems to parallel John's words has come to us in this language. Not many days hence. Oh, yeah. Then he just reads that. scripture that we already read, D&C 8887. Okay, here's the next one. This is from pages 411 to 413. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to highlight this part. The star shall fall from heaven at the time of his arrival rather than before. So at this part, he's talking about kind of like a final stars falling event, as you're about to see. We're going to skip down to right here. Knowing that the earth is to reel to and fro, knowing that he's talking about like the great earthquake at the time of the second coming. Right here, he talks about Christ coming to the Mount of Olives and there being the great earthquake. Knowing that the earth is to reel to and fro, knowing that the mighty deep shall return to his place in the north, knowing that the continents and the islands shall join again, what about stars in their fall from heaven? Our answer is that it will seem to men on earth as though the stars, those great suns in the sidereal heavens around which other planets revolve, are falling because the earth reels. The great fixed stars will continue in their assigned orbits and spheres. Later on, he says, and clearly the crowning earthquake, the earthquake of earthquakes, is the one that shall occur as the earth reels to and fro, and the stars seem to fall from their places in the sidereal heavens. So that's one event that will probably make it look like the stars are falling. But like he said, there's probably multiple events that cause these type of phenomena. Again, as we look at this, if you were like an ancient prophet, you probably would not know what to make of that. It looks like the stars are falling. And then this one too, even more so, especially if they saw this and they knew where this was, that this was Israel. That would probably be pretty shocking for them to see. Okay, so we got that. And then one more. This one is actually under my entry for the moon. It doesn't mention the stars, but once again, President Joseph Fielding Smith says, the words of the prophets are rapidly being fulfilled, but it is done on such natural principles that most of us fail to see it. And then he goes on to talk about Joel chapter 2, verses 28 to 32, if I'm not mistaken. The one that President Hinckley said was fulfilled. In fact, I have that one too. This was the general conference right after 9/11, the October 2001 general conference. Living in the fullness of times, it was the first talk of conference. And he said that the vision of Joel has been fulfilled, where it talks about the moon turning into blood and the sun being turned into darkness. But it doesn't mention anything about the stars in that scripture. So, okay. And then, yeah, that's it for that. So those are things to consider. Now, let's move on to the last part of the email. For the sake of time, I'm not going to read this. You can pause and read this if you'd like. I'm just going to read a quote that he shared. This comes from the Ensign, March 1997 Ensign. The name of the article is The Book of Abraham, a Most Remarkable Book. President Joseph Fielding Smith stated that in this verse, the Lord revealed to Abraham that Adam was subject to Kolob's time before his transgression. So we know that Kolob is the first creation, or the creation closest to the presence of God. So it's like the governing planet, essentially. Revealed to Abraham that Adam was subject to Kolob's time before his transgression. According to President Brigham Young, Abraham 5:13 also means that before the fall of Adam, the earth was near the very throne of God. But when the fall occurred, the earth literally fell or moved from the physical presence of God to its present position in our solar system. When all the effects of the fall of Adam are finally overcome, the earth will literally move back into the presence of God. Here are President Young's words. Quote, by the way, thankfully there's references here. So this one from Joseph Fielding Smith is from Doctrine of Salvation. I'm going to add this to my spreadsheet after I'm done making this video. And then this one that we're about to read comes from Journal of Discourses, volume 17, page 143. Quote, When the earth was framed and brought into existence, and man was placed upon it, it was near the throne of our Father in heaven. But when men fell, the earth fell into space and took up its abode in this planetary system. This is the glory the earth came from. And when it is glorified, it will return again unto the presence of the Father, and it will dwell there. And these intelligent beings that I am looking at, if they live worthy of it, will dwell upon this earth. And that's what John talked about in this paragraph right here, that this is another thing that can make it look like the stars are falling. If planet Earth like literally goes back to wherever Kolob is, I don't know, maybe it'll look something like Star Trek or Star Wars when they go into Star Wars hyperdrive, Star Trek warp drive, and you see all the stars rushing past. Maybe it wouldn't go that fast. I don't know. But that could be another thing that makes it look that way. So there's all sorts of possibilities. So thank you for the email, John. And thanks to all of you for watching. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.